has to be a major participant, or he has to act with intent or reckless endangerment. This anticipation is not just. We all hear about hindsight 2020. We look back, we learn in retrospect. But can we reasonably have foresight 2020? Can we reasonably be psychics? And Texas hasn't given a outline of what you mean by anticipation. Define that, Texas. Define it. Don't be vague. Be specific. Be real with us. What do you mean? Does this mean when you say anticipated that I'm really acting in the crime, that I've given you a weapon, or I've kicked this person or did something? Define that, but it's so vague. We have to tell Texas, define yourself. People have to make them answer to the people, because we're the ones that vote them in. It's just like there's people here that are for the death penalty, officers and whatnot. They make comments, and they say, well, we're taxpayers in this. Well, my grandfather pays taxes. My uncle pays taxes. And unfortunately, they're probably paying for my execution, through their money. And we have to think about these things. What are we doing? And so with the law of parties, it's such a controversial thing that I would say to those people, you have to think about, what if it's your child that's in that car? Do you think this is fair? Put yourself in the shoes and think about it. Think about it. Is this right?
Before you got involved in this, were you for the death penalty?
You know what? Honestly, I didn't even have a concept of the death penalty. You're 19, you're going to school, you're hanging out, you're not thinking about what a capital. When I got arrested on this case and they said capital punishment, I didn't know what they were talking about. A capital punishment? What is that? I didn't know. I didn't know anything about a law of parties. I didn't know anything about law or writs or 7.02b or 11.071 habeas corpuses. I didn't know anything about those things, unfortunately.
For some of these guys back here, are you for the death penalty?
No, I can't be. I can't be, and for two reasons. I started off not being for the death penalty just because, being young and rebellious, you say, well, I don't want to support what the system supports. That's where it started, just kind of being rebellious. But then as I began to get into my spiritual studies and whatnot, I came to the understanding that life is precious. The day that we can sit back and we can create a life, and I don't mean through procreation, I mean you sit down in a lab and make a heart, make a liver, make a brain. Until you can do that, you shouldn't be able to take another man's life. It went from resistance to spirituality to I said, we have to do everything we can to build up humanity. Killing somebody, wars, that should be the last thing that we should be doing. We have to appreciate this. Life is an amazing thing, and having a lot of time to sit back here and think and read and study, you think about these things. You think about the beauty to life, the way that things are created, the way that a fetus is born and comes out of womb, and just how precious it is. And you say, that's something pretty divine. And because it's something divine, we really have to respect this. And yes, if it was my daughter, if it was my mama, if it was my father, I couldn't support it. I would rather say, make this man earn his way. Make him do something to give back. Because if you kill him, we can't get nothing out of it. It's not going to do anything for me. It's not going to take my pain away. And it wouldn't matter how brutal the crime was. I want you to make this man work his way out of what he's done. You're killing these people for different reasons, not for our reasons. Have you read the letter from Sean Paul Kelly?
I haven't. No.
You should look it up. You have. I'm surprised you haven't heard about that. This is the victim's best friend.
Sure.
And he's come forward and.
If you were to have this case overturned, for instance, why would you want to spend more time in prison? It's a hard question to answer.
Why would I want? Well, I wouldn't want to.
Sure, you wouldn't want to.
I mean,
but why?
Well, I mean, I'm around a lot of activists, and you get a lot of radicals and down with the prisons, and you know what? I'm not really against prisons. I don't like the way that America's prisons function, but I do think that there needs to be an institution where persons can build and reform and things like this. So I'm not against taking somebody away from society and giving them a chance to work their way back into society. But we know that that's not happening here in the U.S. because we're pushing 2 million incarcerated right now. But I don't have any problem taking responsibility for what I did wrong. And I knew that I had wrong in what I did earlier in the night. And I stand up and I say, I'm responsible for that. And I don't mind being a conscious and mature individual and saying, well, let me work that off. It's not something, I mean, I know that I'm ready for society. See, a lot of people look at the case, but they fail to realize I've been doing hard time for 10 years. Out of about 8 of those 10, I've been doing time in a cell 22 hours a day. That's not easy to do. That's not easy to do. You know, but people don't see that. They say, well, oh, Kenneth Foster's out there and he's doing this and he's campaigning, but they don't know the hard time that goes on back here. And the hard times that you have not only with officers but with inmates. It's very hard to be positive in prison because it's a negative environment.
Sure.
You
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
For you. The memorial service for Michael LaHood is tonight in San Antonio. I talked to Michael LaHood's mother last night.
Okay.
And I talked to her a couple of weeks ago, and I think you read the article about, you know, how she thinks you are just as guilty.
I haven't seen it, but
Yeah,
I've heard it.
I don't know if you read it or not, but she thinks you're just as guilty. She said, you know, she supports the death penalty in your case specifically. If you were to attend that memorial service tonight, what would you tell Michael LaHood's mother?
Is this the memorial service that's being held by the LaHood family or my supporters?
Yeah, the LaHood family.
Okay, because a lot of people don't know that my supporters are holding a memorial service as well. But I don't know if it's being done in San Antonio. I think it's being done in San Antonio, but, you know, what would I say to...
What would you say to Mrs. LaHood?
The only thing that I could say to Miss LaHood or any of the LaHoods is that you know, I regret their loss. I'm sorry for it. But, you know, the bottom line is I didn't kill your son. You know, and I know that they may not want to hear that, but I didn't. And there's nothing else really that I could say outside of praying for them and wishing that they would have peace and solace and, you know, to get something out of this. But the reality is I didn't kill your son. And you know I didn't kill your son. And you know that the man that did kill your son is executed. And I'm very curious to if everybody felt the same way about Julius Steen when he testified. Did you believe that Julius Steen should die? Because Julius Steen isn't dead. He's not on death row. You know, so do you feel that way about Julius Steen? You know, and it's not said to be an antagonist, but it's said to pull some reality out of this. Let's be real about this. Did you feel that, you know, Julius Steen deserved the death penalty? When Mike Ramos and Jack McGinnis were trying to hustle up a conviction, were they worried about justice? Or were they just worried about making a point? Because it seems like that's all they've done is just tried to make a political point. Because it doesn't seem like anything fair has come out of this when I have two other co-defendants out there. But, I mean, I don't say that to be cold because I hurt for that family. I hurt for Mauricio Brown's family. I mean, me and Mauricio Brown wasn't very close. He was a very lost individual, and I know for a fact he regrets what he did. I know that, but, you know, I mean, I regret that loss. And, I mean, if you believe it or not, I share in your pain. But you do have to realize that you know, I didn't kill your son. I wasn't up there. I didn't have control over that situation. That final decision rests in Mauricio Brown's hands. Mauricio Brown, for whatever reason, he had a choice to walk off that was his choice. Nobody was there with him. And I mean, I understand your anger. I understand your pain and how you feel. And I don't have any spite. I don't have any spite for her or anybody else. I understand.
Sure.
You know, when you go through this process, you gain what they call a peace beyond understanding. And I've gotten that. And I can deal with that. And, you know, allow me, if you want something done, allow me to do something to give back. You know, if you want something to come out of it, let us do something about it. Let us provide something. And that's, you know, that's what I would tell her. But, I mean, our prayers are with them, and we hope that something between now and then will change their opinions a little bit.
Sure. I think we have 5 minutes left here. Okay, so you have 2 weeks left.
2 weeks.
Gosh.
Yeah.
2 weeks until, and you have to go to Huntsville, right?
Yes, I would if it comes. Yeah.
What's that final drive to Huntsville going to be like? Because you have to drive there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What's going to be going through your mind in your last moments of life, if you do come to that point?
I just want people to keep the struggle going. Don't let people forget all the things that we've done here, the things that people don't see. Don't let them forget those things. That's what's most important. You know, I realize the situation, and the odds are stacked against me. I'm facing a tsunami here. You know what I mean? A political tsunami I'm going against. And my whole goal was that something good come out of this, regardless if the LaHoods accept it or not, or if anybody accepts it or not. We know that we're doing good. And I know that there's a torch. See, I'm going to have to pass this torch to somebody back here. Because there's other law party cases here. People like Rudy Madrano, there's other guys here. I'm going to pass this torch.